There's a specific feeling of dread that hits you around the 20th of the month. It's when you do the math and realize the rent is almost due, the light bill is behind, there's a wedding on Saturday that requires a gift, and your bank account is looking at you like it's personally offended you even asked. And the worst part? You were working. You weren't lazy. You weren't blowing money on ridiculous things. You were just surviving. Every month feels like bailing water out of a sinking boat with a plastic cup. You work hard, money comes in, money disappears, and then you repeat the cycle. And nobody around you talks about it. Everyone is just pretending they're fine. Here's what I know now that I wish someone had told me back then. Living paycheck to paycheck isn't a character flaw. It's a trap. And traps can be escaped, but only if you understand how they work. So let's start with the honest conversation nobody seems to want to have. Why does this keep happening, even to people who are genuinely trying their best? The first reason is something called lifestyle creep, and it is incredibly sneaky. The moment your income goes up even just a little, your spending finds a way to match it. You get a new job, and suddenly you need a better phone. You get a promotion, you start looking at apartments in a nicer area. A small raise translates to more takeout, more convenience, more little treats you tell yourself you deserve. Now, none of these things are wrong on their own, but together they quietly eat up every extra naira or dollar you ever earn. You end up always running at 100% of your income, no matter how much that income grows. The second reason is that we've been handed a system with no margin for error, no buffer, no cushion. When your expenses sit right at the edge of your income every single month, any surprise tips you over. An unexpected bill, a small emergency, and then you're not just broke, you're behind. And being behind is exhausting in a way that makes it even harder to think clearly about money. It's a vicious cycle. The third reason is the one that makes me angry on your behalf. Nobody taught us any of this. We learned trigonometry in school. We memorized the dates of ancient wars. But how to read a payslip, how to build a budget that actually works, or how to avoid a debt spiral, that was apparently optional. It is not your fault that you weren't taught, but it is your responsibility to learn. And by listening to this, you're already doing that. So how do we escape the trap? It starts with 5 steps. The first step is the one most people skip because it's uncomfortable. You have to face your numbers. You need to know exactly what's happening with your money. Not roughly, not approximately, exactly. For the next 30 days, I want you to write down everything you spend. Every single transaction. The big ones, the embarrassing ones, the I forgot I was still paying for that ones. Food, transport, subscriptions, random transfers to friends, airtime, all of it. Don't judge it. Not yet. Just see it. I've done this exercise with people who were convinced they had a terrible spending problem. It turned out they had an income problem. And I've done it with people who thought they earned nearly enough, only to find $100 a month disappearing into things they genuinely couldn't name. You cannot make better decisions with bad information. Tracking your spending is not a punishment. It's turning the lights on in a room you've been trying to navigate in the dark. Do this first. Everything else we talk about builds on it. Step 2 is building a budget that doesn't feel like a prison. Now, I want to be clear. A budget is not about restriction. A budget is about intention. It's the difference between your money going somewhere on purpose and your money just going. Here's a simple framework you can actually use. Split your take-home pay into 3 buckets. 50% goes to your needs, rent, food, transport, utilities, the absolute essentials. 30% goes to your wants, the things that make life enjoyable, and 20% goes to your future, savings, paying down debt, building something. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. 20% sounds like a fantasy, and that's okay. If you can only do 5% right now, do 5%. If you can only manage 2%, start with 2. The habit matters more than the number in the beginning. The trick is to set it up so that money leaves your account automatically on payday, before you even see it. Pay your future self like it's a bill you can't miss, because it is. The goal of a budget isn't to make you feel guilty every time you spend. It's to make sure that when the month ends, you're not surprised and you're not behind. Step 3, build the cushion before you do anything else. Before you think about investing, before you think about building wealth, before any of the exciting stuff, you need an emergency fund. This is the single most powerful thing a person living paycheck to paycheck can do. Here's why. Right now, every unexpected expense is a full-blown crisis. The car breaks down, crisis. Your child gets sick, crisis. The fridge stops working, crisis. And every crisis either wipes out the little you managed to save, or it sends you running to a loan shark or a credit card, which means you start the next month already behind. You're not struggling because you're bad with money. You're struggling because you have no buffer. An emergency fund breaks that cycle, even a small one. The big goal is to have 3 months of basic living expenses saved, but start with 1 month, start with 1 week, start with whatever you can put away and promise yourself you will not touch. Open a separate savings account that's a little inconvenient to access and put money in it every single month without fail. That account is not for a holiday sale, it is not for a trip, it is for the moments when life doesn't ask for your permission. Step 4 is to find the money that's already leaking from your account. Once you've tracked your spending for a month, you're going to find some things that shock you. I call them invisible drains. These are the subscriptions you forgot about, the app that's been billing you every month since 2022 for something you used 2 times, that streaming service you share with an ex that both of you forgot to cancel, the data plan you auto-renew without ever checking if it's still a good rate. Go through your bank statement line by line and ask one question for each item. Does this add real value to my life right now? If the answer is no, or I forgot I even had this, cancel it. Today. Not tomorrow, today. Then look at the big 3 expenses: food, transport, and socializing. These aren't things to eliminate, but you can be smarter about them. Cooking 2 extra meals a week instead of ordering in, sharing a ride instead of booking one solo, choosing a free hangout like a walk in the park over an expensive one just half the time. This isn't about deprivation, it's about consciously choosing where your money actually goes. Small, consistent cuts hurt less than one big sacrifice, and they add up much faster than you think. Finally, step 5, the income conversation nobody wants to have. I'm going to say something that some finance experts are afraid to say. Sometimes the problem is not your spending. Sometimes your income is genuinely too low, and no amount of cutting back will fix that gap that big. Budgeting with a broken income is like trying to fill a bucket that has a hole in it. You have to address both the hole and the amount of water you're putting in. So what can you do? Start by asking what you're actually worth in the job market. When was the last time you researched what your role pays at other companies? When did you last have a conversation with your employer about a raise, with actual numbers and data, not just a feeling? Most people leave money on the table simply because they never ask. Have the conversation. Bring the data. The worst possible outcome is a no, and a no is where you already are. And beyond your main job, what do you know that someone else needs to learn? What can you make, fix, teach, or offer? One additional income stream, not 5, just 1, done consistently on evenings or weekends, can completely change your financial reality within a year. Don't think of it as a draining side hustle. Think of it as buying your own freedom 1 hour at a time. Here's the thing about breaking this cycle that nobody talks about. It's not just financial, it's psychological. When you've been surviving for a long time, your brain gets wired for short-term thinking. You stop making plans because plans always seem to fall apart. You stop saving because something always comes up. You spend money as soon as you have it because you've learned that money doesn't stay. That's not a weakness, that is adaptation. Your brain learns to cope with scarcity, and now you have to slowly teach it that things can be different. The way you do that is with small wins. Every time you hit a savings goal, even a tiny one, celebrate it. Every month you manage to stay on budget, acknowledge it. Every unexpected expense you cover with your emergency fund without going into debt, write it down somewhere. You're not just building financial stability, you're building a new relationship with money, one built on trust instead of fear. So write one goal down today, just one. Give it a number and a deadline. I want to leave you with this. The paycheck-to-paycheck trap makes you feel like you're failing, like everyone else has figured out some secret that you haven't. But the truth is, most of them are in the exact same boat, just pretending otherwise. You're not behind, you're starting. And starting with intention is the only thing that's ever changed anyone's financial life. Not winning the lottery, not some lucky break, just clarity, consistency, and the decision to do something differently, starting today. Track your spending, build a real budget, grow your emergency fund, cut the leaks, grow your income. Set one honest goal, and then keep going, even when it's slow, especially when it's slow. You have got this. I truly mean it. If something in this video hit home for you, do me a solid and hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this content who need it. And if you're not subscribed yet, join us. We put out real financial content built for real people every week. I want to hear from you in the comments. Tell me, what's the one thing that keeps tripping you up every month? No judgment, just drop it below. I read every single one, and your comment might become the next video. And when you're done here, the next video is right there. Keep going. See you in the next one.